Welcome everyone to another episode of Mechanisms of Mentorship with your host, Rafael Testai. We have another very special guest, Craig Ovens. Craig is an industrial designer. He designs products for manufacturing and has the capability for stylizing design and also have them ready for manufacturing. So it's a really good combination. Craig, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Raf. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. So today we're going to focus on this massage tool that we see right here. But before we get into it, we're going to talk about a little bit about Craig's background. I want to show you why he's more than qualified to give us some advice and some of the things that he's going to teach us today. I work with Craig here at Pipeline. I learn a lot from Craig, and I want to pass this knowledge on to all the listeners. So, Craig, why don't you tell us about your background in art and design and your experience from manufacturing?
Yeah, so my degree is in art major. It's a concentration in industrial design. So I learned a lot of basic design principles in school. And then when I got into my profession, I started working for a more of an engineering-focused company, but I learned a lot from the owner, who was an injection molder. So I learned all the methods of design for manufacturing, for tooling, mostly injection molding, but I got a lot of experience in just learning from this from the owner. So yeah, so now I can mix that the degree that I got in college of the art, and then taking that and mixing it with the design for manufacturing.
Fantastic. So he not only makes things that look cool, aesthetically pleasing, but they can be manufactured and brought to the real world. And that's a component that I don't think every industrial designer has, especially out of college, right?
Not at all, no, because to get that experience, you have to have that hands-on experience as well. So in school, they give you the basics, but then when you get into your profession, then that's where you really have to dive in. And
what is this massage tool? If you want to tell us the spiel for 30 seconds.
Yeah, so this is basically a massage unit that works on trigger points and pain areas in your extremities, so your hands, arms, wrists. So it's a modular design, so you can switch out these units here. They're like jelly balls, and they have like 2 or 3 or 1 like this, and you can put them in different positions, lock them in, and then you can use it to either massage your hand, spread it out a little more, put it in different positions, and work on get your arm all the way in there for like carpal tunnel or whatever. If you're at the computer all day working with your mouse or even drawing or whatever, and your hand is cramping and you just want to relieve that pain, then I guess that's what this is for. So
that is actually my tool that I brought here, and something that we worked here at Pipeline. And Craig is, in the next segment, he's going to tell us about his involvement. Craig, what was your involvement in this product?
Well, I was brought in, and I met with the inventor, and he kind of showed me how it was used. So like some of the things, we have to make it comfortable. So, rounding edges, the modularity, so getting all these different positions, numbering it for instructions, things like that.
In this segment of the interview, we're going to talk about SolidWorks and CAD. So, Craig, how did you stylize the product? Can you show us in the model how you made those features?
Having this little indent for the handle kind of defines where your hand goes. It also gives you a little stand off of the ground when you're...
The more you can zoom in, the better, because they're a little far away.
Okay.
So you say this right here is for what?
So this gives you a little recess, kind of tells you where your hand goes by having this kind of knockout feature. It also has the edges they're not fully rounded, but I have this chamfer going around here.
You can click on the face?
Yeah, these here. So I have this going all the way around. And also what this chamfer does, it leads your eye around the product. So you can see how it just goes all the way around. So I call it's a flowing chamfer, as well as on the inside. It actually has a bit of a curve to it, so it's a rounded chamfer. Some people call them a ramfer.
Ramfer?
Ramfer. Rounded chamfer. So there you go. And I can show you guys how I made that as well.
Should we talk about that?
Yeah, so let's get into that. All right, so I'll get into the master model. And
so in the meantime, my master model is a part file that has many part files in it, so many bodies.
Yeah,
right?
Multi-body part, yep. And you can see it's the other thing I do is I design, for symmetric parts, design one half of the product. So at the end, you just mirror it over to the other side. That saves a lot of time. It's not super interesting, so I wanted to break these edges. I didn't want to just throw on a fillet, and I didn't want to just throw on a chamfer, because those are kind of obvious looking, and it just kind of looks flat or looks kind of just a little too simple. So I wanted to give it a little more interest to that feature, so that's where I have put a little bit of curve on that chamfer. So there's no SolidWorks feature that does that. There is something called conic row, and I can actually, as you see the preview here, I can start flattening that, and now it looks more like a chamfer, but it's slightly rounded. But what it does is it comes in tangent to these lines here. So as you see right here, these come in tangent, and when you try to shell that, the shell feature usually gets very confused at how to terminate that on the inside, or how to offset that in. So you usually get some errors with shelling. It doesn't shell properly. So this is a nice looking feature, but as far as design for manufacturing, you're going to lose some of that control, that chamfer. So not all my chamfers are at 45 degrees. Sometimes I like to have them asymmetric to, again, give it a little more of a unique look. So on this guy, this is an offset feature. Let's see. So I use sketches. I like to offset sketches, usually more than surfaces. So this is a extruded surface from an offset sketch, and this is a 6mm offset. I can adjust that on how I want that angle to look. And then, what is this guy? And then I also have a profile offset. Okay. That by deleting the ends here. If you just delete and not patch, you just delete a surface, and now a solid will basically be an open surface.
Why are there holes right here?
So those are eliminated. That's what got us. Let me show you that delete face.
Oh.
So this is the outer shape, and now what I'm trying to do is I want to trim away the edges, and then I'm going to fill it later. So I want to I did a delete face on the ends here, and that gives me, now I have two surfaces. I have this upper body, this bottom body surface. Okay. And I trim that away. And now this is where my chamfer is going to go. Basically, if I'm a sculptor, so one thing in school, we didn't have 3D prototyping a long time ago. So we did our models by hand. So a lot of times when I'm sculpting in 3D, I think back of how I'm sculpting this in my hand. So I'm thinking about, I'm taking this cut profile and I'm shaving it, or I'm cutting it off this way, right? So I want to get this even profile all the way around, right? So I'm going to use this profile, and then a sweep is usually the profile and then a path, but you can also add a third element, which is the guide curve. So we have, I'll show you this here.
And in the meantime, what a soothing experience to just shave material off something. I could spend an afternoon just relaxing doing that, polishing it up.
It's sculpting. So we did, being an art major, we took sculpting, ceramics. So there's a lot of that connection between your mind and your hands.
Showing us how to do this feature surface sweep.
So I have that profile, and I'm going to sweep it along this path. Continuous curve. And if you see here, I have a sharp, right? And I can go in there later and I can break that sharp with whatever size radius I want.